Hey guys, welcome back to the Crochet with Kelsey channel. In this video today, I'm going to be showing you some new patterns that really helped me rekindle my love for pattern designing after a while of trying to kind of find what direction I wanted to go in, and I wasn't feeling super inspired, and these pattern series really helped me get my spark back. So I just wanted to share them with you and tell you a little bit about my journey and how these plushies helped me remember why I love crocheting so much. So if you've been following my crochet journey since the very beginning when I first started designing patterns, you'll know that I used to focus on making animals. So it all started whenever I started crocheting. I really started figuring out how to make certain shapes, and I decided I wanted to design my own pattern because I wanted to find a good lion pattern that I liked, and there were none out there at the time that really had a specific style that I was looking for, so I decided to create my own. So my first ever pattern that I made was Lenny the Lion, and this one for some reason actually was pretty successful, and I'm really proud of it. Like, I think it's really good for a first design. And then I started designing some other animals with this same little body style, and don't get me wrong, I absolutely love this little body style, but I wanted to kind of evolve it into something else. So at a certain point, I decided that the crochet animal patterns market was super oversaturated, so I wanted to take a different approach. And you know, I like reading fantasy books, like I like whimsical things. So I decided to start making some patterns that were more mythical, but I didn't really find like what felt like my style. Like, I would make patterns and release them, but none of them really felt like true to what I wanted my brand to become. Eventually, I started making these little monsters. So I have 4 little monsters in this series, and again, you can see kind of the resemblance of the body style, and I really liked these guys, and these guys kind of helped me expand my horizons outside of making just animals, which I'm really grateful for because it does open so many doors into making like different creatures, and it really pushes you to use your imagination. But you know, there was only so many plushies I could make in this body style, and then, you know, some time went on and I was trying to kind of figure out what my next thing was gonna be. And then finally I settled on this body shape. So this is my Elowin the Healer pattern. I have quite a few plushies in this body shape, and I really like it. They're special. They're definitely bigger makes, but you know, it's something that I'm proud of. It's something that felt more like me, and I really did enjoy this series, and I might actually make more plushies in this. You know, after a while, after making a few of these guys, some time went on and I wasn't feeling inspired, and it's just so hard to think of like new little creatures to make all the time. And I also feel like there's a lot of pressure in like naming them. Like, you want to make something that you can call something else. So like, you know, obviously, I mean, I don't really know what this is, so I called it Elowin the Healer. There was a while where I had a lot going on at work, a lot going on in my personal life, and I really wasn't crocheting that much at the beginning of this year. I definitely burnt myself out last year because I just did so many markets. I signed up for way more than I should have, which meant I was just constantly crocheting, and crocheting turned into more of a job. Like, it felt like I got home from my 9 to 5, came home, and then did my crochet job to get ready for the next market, the next event, whatever it may be. And then I also had this pressure on myself from, you know, I need to make a YouTube video every week. I need to post on Instagram. I need to create new patterns. And when the time would come that I felt like I needed to make a new pattern, you know, I would just kind of reach for something that, you know, I thought of. And I do really enjoy all those designs, but I really wanted something that could be tied to my brand, because, you know, I'm kind of everywhere. You know, I have animals, I have like the sitting animals, I have floppy animals, like I have a lot going on. I really wanted to kind of figure out a body style at least that I could use for multiple different animals. And don't get me wrong, like I love designing bigger makes from time to time, and anything that I'm designing I'm passionate about, but I just wanted to have like some kind of plushie to where people see it and they're like, oh, that's a Crochet with Kelsey plushie. So eventually I just decided I was gonna take the pressure off of myself. I was going to design something. It didn't have to be a real creature. I wasn't gonna worry about naming it. And that is how the little weirdos were born. So I made 3 little creatures. They weren't really anything. It was just kind of using my creativity to make something that isn't really in existence yet. So the little creatures in that series are Gaia, Gimlet, and Grimble. So these really helped me get my spark back and helped my desire for pattern designing come alive again, because I just didn't have as much pressure to like make a certain thing, or I'm not like inspired by an animal to make a certain thing. And what I really did is I just figured out a body style that I liked, which is this body style. So with this body style, they can either like look cute like that, or they can sit. And I made one of them and I was like, you know, I'm gonna make this a pattern series. So I actually made Gimlet first, and I was like, okay, that's cute. I kind of like that, you know, he has his little features, but I think I can make some other little features for another one. And then I made Gimlet, and originally I was just gonna have the 2 of them, but then I decided, why not make a third? So after seeing this body style, like I was really sold. I was like, you know what, that could be a Crochet with Kelsey signature body style. So I enjoyed making them so much just because like I didn't feel that pressure, like I was saying, of like creating something that's already in existence. And it was kind of like a breakthrough for me that pattern designing doesn't have to be stressful. Like you should enjoy pattern designing. It should be something that you can feel proud of, and it should be something that isn't like a task that needs to be completed. So these guys really helped me to remember why I started crocheting and why I love crocheting. Because it's a outlet to be creative and it's a way to show your personality. So I made this pattern bundle and I released it, and people seem to like it. And I've noticed that the more passionate I am about a plushie, usually the better it sells. So I think that correlation just shows like how much love and time that I poured into it. So after I released the little weirdos, I decided to do something special for Patreon. So they actually voted. I think I gave them 4 options, and one of the options was like a Patreon exclusive little weirdo. So that's when I made this little guy, Eon the little weirdo, and he's also super cute. I think that things like this come easier to me because I can just kind of picture something in my head and make it, rather than, you know, using an inspiration picture or, you know, having to do like research on specific things. But it was really fun. It was like a really good creative experiment, and I think it turned out to be successful. And I just feel kind of refreshed, and I feel like I know like where I am in my pattern designing career, and it kind of helped solidify like I am a pattern designer and I can make my own creatures. Like I don't need to take inspiration from outside sources. I can just come up with stuff in my head. So it was a really good feeling. Like I said, it was kind of like a little breakthrough, and since then I've just had so many ideas for patterns that I want to do in the same body style, and I really like it. So after I made the little weirdos plus the Patreon exclusive little weirdos, I had a few other patterns that I designed, which I really liked all of them. It includes like my forest book buddies, the little wyvern, the otter, and I just finished reading the Crescent City series. So I finished all of the Throne of Glass, Akatar, Crescent City. So I was like really inspired by that for a minute, which that's where the wyvern comes from the Throne of Glass series, and that's where the otter comes from the Crescent City series. So I really feel like leaning into the mythical side of the crochet world is like where I'm supposed to be. I just get more joy out of making things like that than making like a cow or a pig or just, you know, regular animals. And so I was inspired to make another pattern series of like the little weirdos style of body. And that's how I came up with the little mythics. So I chose 3 mythical creatures that I wanted to recreate in my style. And the first one that I decided to make was a jackalope. So I thought this one would be really fun because it has like fun horns, and I've done other creatures that have fun horns before, and I just kind of thought it would be a fun challenge to, you know, make some of these mythical creatures in my style. And somehow it came to me more easily than I expected. Like, I really had a solid picture of everything in my head. And don't get me wrong, like, I went on Pinterest, I looked at pictures of jackalopes, but I'm really proud of this pattern series. I feel like I'm finally like on the right trajectory of, you know, the patterns that I want to design, and I love the community that has supported me to get to this point. And I really appreciate the support that the crochet community has given me throughout like releasing all of these different types of patterns. But I really feel like this is like my style. Like, I know I have a certain style and I have been leaning into the more mythical side of things for a while, but I don't know, these are just a project that I was very passionate about, and they really just helped me rekindle my love for crocheting and for pattern designing, and made it feel like a fun hobby more than a job. So this is the first one that I made. So this is Jupiter the jackalope. I really wanted to name this one Juniper, but every time I am making a new pattern, I always go on Etsy just to make sure nobody has the same name as me. And there already was a Juniper the jackalope out there, and that pattern is also super cute. But you know, this is my own take on it, so I went with Jupiter because that's another cute little J name that I liked. So this is little Jupiter, and I'm really proud of the horns. It's kind of hard to tell in this yarn, but they do have like a little kind of curve to them, and then this other one comes in, and I'm just really satisfied with the way that they turned out. I also love the ears on this. It would be just such a cute bunny if you took the horns away. So like, it's technically a 2-in-1 pattern. I just am really proud of this design, and I thought it was a great way to kick off a new series that I was really excited about. And this one and the other two, I actually made them all in a span of 3 days, which is pretty impressive, I'd say. So that's little Jupiter. And then the second one I made, I decided I wanted to make a little gargoyle. So I've seen other gargoyle crochet patterns, but I haven't seen any that are like small. I feel like a lot of them are really big and intricate, and they look like actual gargoyles that you would see like on a building. I just wanted to make kind of a little cutesy version that's smaller, maybe for somebody who wants to make a gargoyle but doesn't necessarily have all of the time to make a super complex one. So here is my little take. This is Jinx the gargoyle. And so these eyes I actually made for my Braxy the wyvern pattern, but I mean, they almost look totally black, but if you look closely, you can see there's like just sparkles around there. So I really like the eyes on this one, and he's really cute when he's sitting because his little wings just kind of poke out a little bit. And yeah, I think he's really cute. So I was really happy with the way this one turned out as well. And then the last one in this series is Jubilee the Pegasus. So as you can tell, I named them all J names, and I've made like unicorns and different horse creatures with hair in the past, and I've never really enjoyed making the hair. It kind of is a pain. So I also wanted to do something that was a little bit different from the normal like unicorn hair construction, which I feel like is making a chain and then just like increasing or doing something back down the chain to make it super curly. So here is little Jubilee. I think she is so cute. She has her little bangs, and she has like a giant mane, and honestly I didn't know how long the mane was going to be until I sewed it on, because I was hoping that the curl was going to be a little more intense, but I love the way that it turned out. So the curls, as you can see, they're more curled at the end, and then they kind of straighten out, so it's just like a nice voluminous look. And it's kind of fun because you get to style the hair however you want. And I also really like these little wings. They're just like simple, cute little Pegasus wings. And since her hair is so intense, I wanted to make her wings a little simpler just to give her a little bit more balance. But I seriously have not had as much fun making patterns as I have during this series. And I'm just so excited because it makes me really look forward to the future of pattern designing for me. And who knows what's going to be next, but I'm really glad that I just like found a little body style that I really enjoy making, because I feel like with pattern designing, that's like half of the battle, trying to find your style and kind of find where your patterns fit into the crochet market. So that's what she looks like sitting. And like I said, I just finished the Crescent City series, and in the book, the main character has a little Pegasus unicorn toy that in my head, like when I was reading it, I was like, oh, it's like My Little Pony. But the name of the character in the book is Jelly Jubilee. So I kind of took inspiration. It's also a purple Pegasus, but it also has a horn. So I think that's technically an alicorn. I'm not really familiar with all the different mythical horse terminology, but maybe I should get more familiar with that. But whenever I first sewed on the hair of this one, I was a little bit scared because, you know, it took a while to figure out what I wanted to do, but I sewed it on and it looked like this. So it was just like a middle part, and I was just like, oh no, I made way too much hair and I don't know what I'm going to do. But then it's fun because you can kind of like style it however you want. So I just kind of like twirled it around a little bit and made it like this nice little mane. And I thought that was really fun. So this is probably one of the only patterns maybe I'll ever make that has hair. It was really a challenge for me to figure out how I was gonna do it. But that being said, I'm really glad that I pushed myself to make this pattern, and I also just had so much fun making all of these little guys. So those are the little mythics. I also wanted to show you her little tail that I think is really cute. But yeah, after being so like burnt out last year from crocheting and, like I said, doing markets all the time and always just like prepping stuff for those, it's nice to kind of set aside some time for yourself to where you can really focus on designing or whatever it is within the scope of crochet that makes you the happiest and most fulfilled. And which for me, that is pattern designing. I love pattern designing. I love the testing process. I love getting to see other people make my patterns. So it's really special. It's really something that brings me joy. And I'm really thankful that I've gotten to spend so much time on this stuff. But that being said, I am doing my first market. At the time I'm filming this video, it'll be next weekend. So I do have to get started for that. So I'm just hoping that this little like plushie making high that I'm on can continue into the market prep to making the little items. But yeah, it is just really fun to see kind of how your style and your patterns evolve over time. There's all of them in one shot. This is really a good timeline of my design style. But I'm just really grateful to have been able to go on this journey and gain support along the way. It really has kept me going, just getting feedback, knowing that people like my patterns. And although my style has kind of changed throughout the time that I've been designing patterns, I really do like every pattern that I have ever put out. And I feel like a lot of times it's really hard to be proud of a pattern if like it doesn't get a lot of engagement on social media, or maybe you don't get as much engagement on your tester call as you thought you would. And a lot of these things can be discouraging, but you just have to push through, and then finally you'll find something that's like a breakthrough moment where you're like, I'm really passionate about this, and it doesn't even matter what other people think. As long as you're passionate about it, that's all that really matters. As long as you are happy crocheting and designing, that's all you really should have to worry about. And it is good to take breaks from time to time. I definitely took a big break at the beginning of the year, and it was very nice, and it helped me kind of refuel and refresh and come up with new ideas. So this series will be put into testing probably the week that this video gets released. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested in that. The tester call might actually still be open by the time that this video releases, but if not, it should be out in a couple of weeks. So I hope you guys like them. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing a little bit about my crochet pattern designing journey, and I appreciate anyone who's been along for the ride. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.